So let's pray for me. It's
Broke
nice
up
to
for a
meet you.
second.
My name is Gray.
Nice to meet you. So nice to meet you.
And so we're super excited to talk to you just because everybody's asking like what the future of the Conjuring universe is.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of directions it could go.
And when we talked to the great James Wan, one of the questions that I had asked him was what he felt the heart of the Conjuring universe is. And his answer was, without a doubt, Ed and Lorraine. And so when the director was talking about how it was actually Vera Farmiga that had like a huge hand in getting younger actors cast as Ed and Lorraine, uh, let's just start there. So
Okay.
when you came in, what did they tell you? Did you study Vera? Like, how did you attack it?
Yeah, so initially for the initial self-tape, I didn't know that I was auditioning for Young Lorraine. We just had the sides and the scenes and they were very intense and yeah, I wasn't sure. I know Orion had an inkling because he looks a lot like Patrick, but I have never been compared to Vera, so I had no idea. But then for the callback, the director sent like this voice memo, and they were like, "You're going in for young Lorraine, so study Vera's performance. Like, we need you," especially because they were really trying to sell this idea to the studio. I think the studio was a little bit nervous, like it is big shoes to fill, and how do we find the right people? And so they did a massive search. Yeah, so for the callback, they said you're gonna go in for young Lorraine, so just try to be as much like Vera as possible. And that definitely gave me a direction to go. And I just then started studying all of the movies and her mannerisms and my face to see how it could look as much like hers as possible. Yeah, and the callback was crazy. It was like 3 hours long. It was just O'Ryan and I. And Michael Shavs, the director, was already in England. So we were on Zoom, but we were in an office with casting and they were recording it from like every single angle so they could edit it together and kind of show the studio like this is how it would work. Because I think that getting everyone to agree to it was kind of an uphill battle.
Would you say that there is a big takeaway for you in the way to mirror Vera's performance as Lorraine?
Oh my gosh, she's just so good. She is so amazing and magnetic. I think there's so much going on with her all the time. She's constantly thinking about things. Plus, there's the clairvoyance aspect, so you don't know if she's seeing something or not seeing something, and she's just incredibly sensitive and in tune with her environment and present. But I think for me too, the kind of takeaway was her interaction and her dynamic with Ed. And I think he's very grounding for her, but also just little things like the way she says Ed, it, to me is so specific. And she says his name quite a bit. So I was like, I would listen to her say Ed over and over and over again. And also just kind of getting to know my own face too. Michael and I were like, when your chin is down, you look more like her, and certain things like that. But really, from a vocal aspect, the way she said Ed would bring me back into her voice. So if I needed to get back into it, I would say Ed as her. That was definitely one thing that I sort of clung on to.
So, how did you feel after a 3 hour callback in which they put you through the ringer?
Oh my gosh. I remember Orion and I, we just, because we were the only people at the callback. So afterwards, we got in the hallway and we are just like, whoa. It was exhausting. And you don't even really remember what happened because the scenes that we were doing also were so immersive and you're just like 0 to 100. But yeah, it was like the longest callback I've ever had. And afterwards, it just felt like a trip. And you're like, well, I don't even really remember what I did, but best of luck to you. I hope we get it. But I felt I left feeling very satisfied with what I had done. I was like, I did the best I could do. We put it all out there and um, yeah, it was crazy. It was a trip.
When you got the call, what was that like?
It was amazing. I was in my kitchen at my house and Michael called me and he was like, we want you to be young Lorraine. Congratulations. And can't wait to see you in London. And then it was from there, I was getting married the I got married the day before I had to go to London. So I was like, it was so it was so stressful. I didn't know the exact dates, and I was like, God, I'm getting married. What's going on? I think figuring all of that, it was the most stressful 2 weeks of my life because the dates weren't nailed down yet. And I was like, there's one day I really can't be there. And it was insane. So it was like, I was so happy, but then immediate stress. And also, okay, now I have to figure out how to do all of these things again and again and again. And you're mentally preparing yourself to like go do those crazy scenes again. But yeah, it was a whirlwind. It was a whirlwind after finding out that I got it.
Good God, that's a lot. That's like
It was
more
a
than
lot.
a lot.
Yeah. I was like, oh man.
Have you, when was your first time interacting with Vera, with Patrick, and hearing kind of did you get to hear their thoughts on your take at that time?
Yeah, I guess they never really saw our take per se, but I know that they saw the tapes. But it must have been one of my first or second days in London. They dyed my hair, so I was doing hair and makeup tests. And then after that, I went and met Vera and we sat down and she's just so lovely and generous and warm and knowledgeable. And she talked about kind of what she knew and a little bit about her approach, but she was also really encouraging and was like one of the reasons she was felt so strongly about not doing CGI and bringing in younger people is because she wanted like that fresh perspective and that kind of younger energy because they're at a point in their career in our scenes where they're newer to it. They're not these experts that they come to be. So she also was like, you have a different energy, you're in a different phase of life and bring that in. And that's like why we want you here. So it was cool. It was really nice because I think it allowed us to have some ownership over that part as well.
Okay, so circling back to what I was saying when I started, uh, James, says hands down, Ed and Lorraine are the center of all this. And in order to continue in sort of this new phase, well, I know that nothing has been talked about publicly. I just wonder what you can comment on as far as any kind of vision for the future? Have you been approached at all? Like, is there anything that you can say about continuing on potentially as the younger, different era version of Lorraine?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything, but I know there's a lot of speculation online about all the different ways it could go, and I think it's just been so fun to be a part of the whole Conjuring universe in general and to have a little part in it. I obviously would love to be any part in it in the future, but I haven't heard anything. I'm not sure.
Do you ever watch the movies and has it sort of changed your opinion on the work that Ed and Lorraine have done? Like, what do you think about them and their sort of place in, what would we call it? Like paranormal investigation history.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't know a whole lot about the real Ed and Lorraine prior to being in the film, and then getting cast, definitely researched about them, and then also just digested the movies over and over and over again. But I think what's interesting for me is they were sort of trailblazers in the kind of capturing of paranormal investigations, like bringing in the camera and the recording devices. And I think it's really interesting. They sort of created a new thing. And I find that to be very fascinating. And there's so much I want to know about that origin too, when they first decided to use a camera and how they found the guide to film and all of that kind of stuff. I think they really created a different place in the paranormal investigation scene, I guess.
Did you talk to like did you ever spend any time with either Michael or James and like kind of talking about uh how these movies have gone, what it's because you're kind of coming in like right in the middle.
Yeah. Um, not really. I think, yeah, not really. I think Michael, he loves horror so much and he loves these films so much and he loves this whole world so much. And I spent more time talking with him than James, but he didn't talk so much about what it was like coming into it and how crazy it is. But I think he is so infatuated with movie making and with horror that it felt exciting to be a part of this world that he cared so much about and that James cares so much about. It was just very exciting. I don't know, he just made you feel really excited and included about being a part of it.
That's awesome as a new performer in something that's so established. Like
Yeah.
just to be made to feel like you're part of the family. Like that's an important element of it.
Yeah, definitely. It's very intimidating. And Michael was so kind. And he knows exactly what he wants, but he's very much like you're here for a reason, which is really nice to feel supported in that way.
Hands down, what character, what ghost, what ghoulie, what demon do you feel is the most daunting in the series?
Oh my gosh. I think either Valak or the Crooked Man, probably. They're both so scary. I mean, they're all scary, but the Crooked Man and Valak, I think, get me the most.
Do you ever find yourself kind of slipping into Lorraine slash Vera now just sort of by second nature?
It's funny when I watch, like when I watched the movie, yes. As I was watching this latest one, the fourth installment, I felt like I was sort of watching it studying again in a way and seeing what Vera was doing and seeing what I was doing and sort of thinking about my voice. And I don't know, I was watching it in a not an audience time. It'll be fun to watch it when I'm a little bit further removed from it and just fully experience it. But in my day to day, I would say no. When I was in London, yes. When I was there working on the film and prepping for the movie, I felt like that was all that I thought about. And it was hard after that to kind of step out of that and go back into normal life. But I don't know. Now when I'm watching the film, I sort of feel like I'm still studying it.
And do you want to read any of the books? Do you want to get familiar with any of their other cases that might not have been covered? Like, are you kind of imbibing the Conjuring world almost in like a preparation potentially?
Yeah, I think it sparks interest. I think they are such an intriguing family, and there's so much to explore there that it does make me want to just read everything that there is. And it's yeah, it's just fascinating. And I love horror too. And there's all these different cases. And I saw they're making an Amityville, a new movie for the Amityville horror. And it's like those things where you just want to, it's fascinating. It really is such a fascinating world of the whole paranormal investigation thing is so interesting. And the people it's affected, the families, it's very interesting to me.
Now that you're a part of the Conjuring family, I'm assuming that you would have gotten and will get the question a lot of like, what are your feelings about the paranormal before this, and what are your feelings during this?
Yeah, I think before I honestly don't think I thought about it very much. And was maybe, yeah, like, I don't even want to go down that. I'm just not going to think about it. Ignorance is bliss. But having gotten a little bit of a taste of it and having started to research it more, I think I'm just very intrigued by it. And whether what's true or not true kind of isn't the point for me. It's like people's experiences that they're feeling are very real to them. And so I'm just fascinated by so many people who've had these paranormal experiences and what that must be like and how truly terrifying that must be. So I think for me, there's just a deep curiosity there where I don't really know what's true and what isn't true, but I think it's just fascinating that these people have had these sort of inexplicable experiences.
I know I'm in that same boat where I'm always like, I want to hear about it, and I'm not super upset I've never experienced it. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, same. I don't want to experience it. I,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's talk about Theater is Dead
Yeah.
because this that officially makes this a very big year.
It's been a big year. Yeah, it's very exciting. Lots of horror this year.
Tell us about like what we can expect. It's at Fantastic Fest coming up, yeah?
Yes. Oh my
So
gosh. In a
what can
week.
audiences expect? And yeah, this is again, big year.
Thanks. Yes. Theater is Dead is so fun. I co-wrote and co-produced it with three other women, and it's our second feature together. And it's just like absolutely delightful to work with them. And this one is a massive step away from our first one. It's a campy horror comedy that takes the idea of selling your soul to the devil literally and kind of explores that in the vein of this small theater company on this isolated island. And it's just absolutely fun and ridiculous. It was so much fun to make. I play like a goth Nepo demon, and it's just so, it was a blast.
Would you say that is the timing of the horror movies more coincidental, or is being a scream queen like something that you would be really excited to do?
Both. It's absolutely coincidental, but I think horror is kind of the most exciting genre right now in terms of people are being so playful with there's so many good films coming out in the horror genre. So I would love to keep being in horror films. It's like I don't know, it's just an incredibly exciting landscape right now for horror movies and it makes me really excited. And I love horror is like bringing people to the theaters, which makes me so happy and it's so important. And I just yeah, I think it's amazing.
Did you go to a theater, by the way, for your opening weekend with The Conjuring and like sit among the people?
Yeah, I did. I went to a matinee showing, so it was not the most crowded theater, but I did. And it was so fun.
That's so awesome. I love it. Um, I've heard, I mean, I always think that it's interesting that like actors are generally the last ones to hear about something. So we
Yeah.
ask them these questions quite often and they're like, I don't know, it would be so nice.
Yeah.
Um, do you think that these stories and, being the younger version of Lorraine is particularly well suited to a certain kind of product? Like, do you assume that the universe could be expanded in more movies? Do you think TV would be really fun? Like, do you have any kind of exciting ideas to put out there?
Well, I think I do feel like in a way it's well suited for both. The sort of formula that they've done with The Conjuring, where it's like a case of film, is a very nice way to follow their journey through time. But I also think the wonderful thing about TV is you have more time to explore in depth. And there's just more time to play with. So I think because of the scope of work that they've done, it kind of is suited for either. There's so many ways you could do TV in that way, whether it's very formulaic and like an episode is a different haunting, or just deep diving, sort of like The Haunting on Hill House or things like that, deep diving on one particular thing. But it's a great question. And I kind of feel like the opportunities are endless because they could also just hone in on specific demons too, and make them larger and like create a more personal relationship with the demons themselves. So I don't know. There's so many different ways it could go, but I think the history of the family is there's so much there to explore that it's really exciting.
Yeah, I know. I think encouraging people to read is one
Yeah.
of the best things about some of these movies because I mean
Yeah.
Ed and Lorraine were so prolific. There's still a ton that you
Yeah.
could talk about.
Yeah, it's so true. And I do think one of the cool things after all these films, because they're based on these real hauntings, you do want to go back as an audience member, just as a layman fan. You want to go back and be like, okay, wait, whoa, I want to look into this. Like the Smurl haunting, it's so crazy. There's so much to read about with the Smurl haunting, and it's wild. It's wild. And I feel like the movie, also, again, because of like time constraints, you can only hit so many marks. But there's so much research you can do as an audience after the fact, and it's fun to go read about. It's very encouraging.
And then last question, how creepy was the mirror in real life?
The mirror was creepy. It was, and I mean, gosh, the production design and the art and everything was so amazing, and it was in this artifact room that they just did such a good job. Oh my gosh, or storage room, but yeah, the mirror, the babies, it was creepy. It was creepy. Ah,
Welcome to The Conjuring.
yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I'm really excited for what comes next. I'm a huge fan. I've
Oh, amazing.
done interviews since the first movie for
Really?
almost all of them, and I'm a huge fan of Veer and Patrick. And from an audience perspective, you and your co-star were so beautifully cast.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that it's exciting for me as a fan because I'm like, great, yeah, definitely headed in the right direction from where I'm sitting. So
That means so much to me because I think it was nerve-wracking stepping into these shoes because I love Vera and Patrick as Ed and Lorraine. Their relationship is so amazing and they're so magnetic with each other. And I think getting, wanting, oh gosh, it was so important to me to do Vera justice and Lorraine justice, but also the fans because they love them so much. That means that I'm so happy that you felt that way.
yeah, absolutely. And after getting to talk to Michael about not de-aging them and instead just like going through a great casting process, it's like, phew. great.
Yeah. I know.
Because
I respect that so much as for them as filmmakers. It's so cool that they did
awesome.
that.
So even though it's not really my place to welcome you from the fans, I say welcome.
Okay. I'll take it.
I'm a big fan, so
I'll
thank
take
you
it.
so much.
Thank you. It was so nice to meet you.
Likewise, and we'll keep you posted on when we run this, and
Perfect.
fingers crossed that it has recorded and everything is all set.
Yes. If it hasn't for some reason, just let me know.
Oh, thank you. All right, great. Talk soon. Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye.